Look closely. Not at the Virgin, not at the saint, not even at the light. Look at the foot. A blackened sole, a cracked heel, skin marked by roads, dust and labor, pushed so close to the edge of the painting that it almost enters our world. It seems insignificant. Yet, in 17th-century Rome, a foot like this could disturb priests, patrons, and cultural authorities more deeply than blood, violence, or supernatural darkness. Why? Why would Caravaggio place dirt at the threshold of a sacred image? Why were ordinary bodies considered dangerous inside holy scenes? And why did institutions that sometimes rejected his paintings continue to seek his extraordinary talent? By the end of this film, those dirty feet will no longer appear accidental. They will reveal a struggle over dignity, faith, class, and one unsettling question. Must the sacred remain separate from ordinary life in order to stay sacred, or does it become meaningful only when it touches poverty, vulnerability, flesh, and mud? Subscribe and join us as we uncover the hidden ideas inside familiar works of art. Rome, at the beginning of the 17th century, was a city of vertical power. Church facades rose above crowded streets. Altars stood above kneeling worshippers. Cardinals moved through polished interiors, while laborers, pilgrims, beggars, and sex workers crossed alleys thick with dust. Religious paintings were not passive decoration. They instructed, they persuaded, they disciplined the imagination. During the Counter-Reformation, the Catholic Church understood that images could shape faith with an immediacy that words often could not. A painting had to be clear, emotionally powerful, and worthy of devotion. But worthy according to whom? Some believed sacred figures should appear elevated, graceful, untouched by ordinary suffering. Holiness required distance. Others believed the opposite. If Christianity was founded on God entering human flesh, then perhaps sacred art should not escape the physical world. Perhaps it should enter it completely. Caravaggio lived inside that conflict. He depended on cardinals, collectors, chapels, and commissions. Yet he also moved through taverns, workshops, dangerous streets, and crowded neighborhoods. He painted people whose faces seemed to belong to the world outside the church doors. He was not a simple hero of the poor. He was ambitious, violent, spiritually intense, dependent on elite protection, and filled with contradictions. The man who reduced the distance between saints and ordinary people often failed to reduce the violence within himself. And still, his paintings made a radical proposition. They suggested that grace might arrive without asking the body to become respectable first. Consider the Madonna of Loreto. Two pilgrims kneel before the Virgin and Child. Their clothes are worn, their posture is humble. One pilgrim's bare feet occupy the foreground. They are dirty. At first, the detail may seem almost humorous. Why place cracked heels so close to an altar? Why allow something so mundane to compete with the Virgin herself? But dirt in Caravaggio's Rome was never merely dirt. It carried social information. It spoke of walking, labor, homelessness, pilgrimage, exposure, and poverty. A clean body suggested protection from the street. A damaged foot revealed contact with it. The foot became a social document written on skin. Imagine entering the church after walking through mud, kneeling before the painting, and seeing feet like your own already inside the sacred scene. For one viewer, this might have felt comforting. For another, deeply improper. Because the question was not only whether the feet were ugly, the real question was whether people associated with those feet belonged so close to holiness. Does sacred art gain power when holiness resembles ordinary life, or does it lose something essential? Tell us what you think in the comments. Caravaggio's answer was created through composition and light. In his paintings, light does not simply illuminate beauty, it selects. In The Calling of St. Matthew, divine attention enters a shadowed room populated by contemporary figures. Grace does not descend into an ideal world, it interrupts an ordinary one. In The Supper at Emmaus, revelation appears among food, worn clothing, abrupt gestures, and bodies pushed toward the viewer. The sacred event does not retreat into the distance, it occupies our space. In the entombment of Christ, grief has weight. Bodies bend under physical pressure. Stone, flesh, cloth, and death seem to share the same gravity. Again and again, Caravaggio's light falls on wrinkles, rough fabric, bare skin, and dirt without purifying them first. That may be the secret. The light does not deny imperfection. It makes imperfection visible. And this created a problem. Religious patrons wanted emotional force, but they also wanted control. They wanted believers to recognize sacred truth, but not always through bodies that appeared socially disruptive, awkward, or indecorous. The lost first version of St. Matthew and the Angel became famous for presenting the evangelist as physically clumsy and socially unrefined. The image survives only through historical black and white reproductions, but its reputation reveals the anxiety surrounding Caravaggio's realism. In The Death of the Virgin, mortality appears without decorative consolation. The Virgin's body possesses the heaviness of an actual corpse. The sacred mystery is not protected from death's physical reality. Such paintings were not controversial because Caravaggio lacked religious feeling. They were controversial because his religious feeling could be too physical. He made theology touch the floor. And now the deepest contradiction emerges. Caravaggio worked inside the very system he disrupted. His poor figures entered churches through elite commissions. His visual rebellion depended on wealthy patrons. He challenged sacred hierarchy, but he did so from within the machinery of sacred power. Was he defending the marginalized? Was he expressing a theology of humility? Was he simply committed to uncompromising realism? Was he provoking those who paid him? The surviving evidence does not permit one clean answer. Perhaps the force of his work comes from the fact that all these possibilities remain active at once. He did not paint a political manifesto. He created an encounter. Look again at the feet. They are placed low, near thresholds, stone floors, discarded sandals, and kneeling bodies. Above them rise columns, robes, altars, and institutional authority. The paintings contain two directions. Power moves upward. Human contact moves downward. But Caravaggio's light crosses both. It descends from darkness and finds the body's hierarchy might overlook. This is why mud becomes more than a stain. In his world, street dust seems to dissolve into pigment, becoming umber, ochre, brown, and red. The colors of the earth become the colors of sacred history. Holiness and dirt begin to share the same palette. And once we see that, the dirty foot changes again. It is no longer just realism. It is a theological argument. Christianity speaks of incarnation, of the divine entering flesh. Caravaggio's paintings test whether viewers truly accept the consequences of that idea. It is easy to admire humility when it appears clean, distant, and beautifully arranged. It is harder when humility smells of sweat, carries damaged skin, and kneels close enough to invade your personal space. That is Caravaggio's clearest revelation. The sacred does not become human from a safe distance. It comes close. Support serious visual storytelling by liking this film. Now return to the opening image. The soul still faces us. The heel remains cracked. The dirt has not disappeared, but its position has changed in our minds. It lies at the threshold between painted space and the spectator. It forces the respectable viewer to confront a body that might have been ignored outside the church. Caravaggio's radical gesture was not simply to paint poor people near saints. It was to remove the comfortable distance separating them from us. He made exclusion impossible to overlook. Share this with someone who has never imagined that a painted foot could contain an argument about human dignity. We may never know exactly what Caravaggio intended each time he painted a dusty heel or a blackened soul. His motives remain entangled with faith, ambition, observation, provocation, and contradiction. But the images preserve a conflict that institutions could not completely control. The dirt remains visible. The rejected body remains inside the sacred composition. The light continues to fall where hierarchy did not expect it. Perhaps holiness does not survive by remaining untouched. Perhaps it becomes real only when it crosses the threshold, enters the street, and recognizes the bodies waiting there. A blackened soul, a stone floor, a narrow band of light, the distance between heaven and the street, and one painter's refusal to keep them apart.